Mr. Sam Light, thank you very much for joining me today.
Mr. Craig.
Yeah.
How are you?
For the first time ever, I'm taller than you.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that I got stitched up with the seat. I'm like down here.
I purposely gave you that one for a reason.
I wonder why you quickly jumped over that side of the desk.
No, this is my good side. I didn't tell you that. I don't really have a good side, but anyway.
Well, it looks like you've obviously been to Sean the Barber today, I take it.
No, I've been to a barber. It was my other barber. Hey, look, I'm cost cutting. No, Milford Barber's a bit cheap. It genuinely is.
Is it?
Well, ever since, okay, so full disclosure, I've got a bet with you, right? About the beard. So
well, I trimmed mine though last week.
Yeah, so thank God for that because I'm going to beat you. So I'm there.
I still don't reckon you will.
Wait until I straighten it with a hair.
Well, it takes like a week, man. I had about that much growth onto it.
I'll straighten it with a hair straightener. It's going to be way better. But hey, mate, thanks for joining. Obviously,
yeah, no worries.
We've known each other for a bit part of a decade, I guess.
Yeah. About that. Yeah.
Glad I didn't know you.
Great to be you, obviously, for that long.
Glad I didn't know you when I was younger. We actually met in an odd circumstance, didn't we? We
did meet at a funeral.
We met at a funeral.
Of all places to form a relationship, which is quite weird, isn't it?
It was quite weird. But
sad time, but great things came out of it.
Hey, look, and also what a wake it was. And
it was it was at the backyard, backyard. Yeah, with the pool out the back.
Yeah.
Surprised no one ended up in there.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember much of it, but hey, it was pretty good.
One thing I was going to say is the one thing I don't know how long is just to say. So Auckland scaffolding director. How long have you been in scaffolding?
This is ninth year.
Ninth year.
Yeah. Ninth year.
When I met you, it was pretty much sort of coming into fruition when you were getting into
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, so about 9 years now. So, we're sort of, at the moment, obviously, it's pretty tough for people, especially in the trade. We're sort of coming into it now after coming off such a great patch of work.
Yeah. Did you mean?
But everyone's sort of hurting. And so we've sort of been through, we've been through COVID. We're going through this now. We've been through ups and downs over those 9 years. It hasn't all been plain sailing. Yeah.
But for you,
but still surviving. So
yeah, because that was I was going to segue into that because we have conversations. We have a beer every couple of weeks minimum or something like that. But how do you? Because you obviously know the lay of the land, and there's a lot of businesses like we'll say trades in general, but even with scaffolding, there must be some smaller crowds liquidating and bits and pieces. Have you found that, or have you just found?
Yeah, I won't name names, but there was a reasonable sized one that was noted that went down a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they're probably a similar size, maybe a bit bigger than us.
Yep.
And
so you do,
kind of, you look at it to be like, well, does that free up some more work or are we all going on the downward spiral?
Yeah. Because for me, like whenever we chat, you are busy.
Normally. We are.
And I mean, even for not being busy, because that was kind
of down to my fantastic networking, you see.
Well, I'm not going to lie. That is one of the reasons why, you are. You're a people person, and
I think networking. People forget how networking can help a business,
and actually it works.
A lot of people just sit there and think, "Oh shit, the work's going to come." Yeah. Well, I could tell you now, it fucking doesn't. You got to get out there.
But I also think it's your attitude. I mean, you're not one of these glass half full kind of people that from what I see, you're always a glass half full. You like to talk a lot of shit at the same time, but it's always genuinely good. But I do think the networking thing is a massive one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But obviously, did you think...
You've got to perform, but the networking gives you an opportunity.
Yeah. Did you forecast for this sort of year? Did you have a think last year?
I could sort of heard mumblings about it with a couple of architects I knew who were slowing down last year. And that's when they were sort of get hit first. We're talking about the trade industry.
Yeah.
Then it's sort of now starting to filter into the work. And then when you've got the squeeze coming on from interest rates and inflation and, it's difficult with people with don't have the money to spend, and banks at the moment aren't really that forthcoming with making money readily available for people to do projects either.
Yeah. And did you find also...
So kind of thought it was coming, but it's still hard to forecast on.
Yeah.
You're only guessing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, look, with every industry it's been, but I do think the trades have kind of one of those ones where, you find out what the sort of economic lie of the land is via commercial and
well, they
domestic
I've generally always and I've been involved in the trade for over sort of 20 plus years now, and they always sort of say in this country, if they're selling cars and the tradies are busy, then the economy's going good.
Yeah. That sounds right.
If you're not, no, I don't think they're selling many cars at the moment, and the tradies are slowing down. So
yeah, I'm trying to sell a car at the moment. So maybe that's the reason.
Well, you don't need three, is it? Whatever you got these days.
It's very funny, very funny. Cool. Because I mean, obviously, when it comes to you, because with your size of your crew that you have in terms of people that actually work in the business,
yes,
has it fluctuated much as well?
Our largest we've been up to is 27.
Yeah.
And at the moment we've got 17. That includes me.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm probably worth 3 to 4 people.
Yeah.
So, you could say we basically got over 20.
So those 3 to 4,
so the numbers
what are those 3 to 4
17.
roles that you do?
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So, has that come in the last year or 2 years or whatever, from the 27 to the 17?
We originally started with 7 of us, I think there was originally. So we grew from 7 or 8 to up to the 27. But then what we found with that number was we ended up with too many people who weren't being productive. So we scaled it back more on trying to get better staff, better quality employee to then try and produce the same amount of work, basically.
Yeah.
And we've kind of got that sort of good balance now. I'm a big believer in, we've got young guys as well. We've got a guy who's come straight out of school, and I'm a big believer in, you want to train people up as well, but it's important to have the older, more experienced guys in there as well, which I think that is the same with any trade.
Yeah. And they can groom the other ones kind of to do the job properly.
And we've sort of come a long way in New Zealand with like the training aspects and what you can do. Like there's actually an apprenticeship now for scaffolding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's an apprenticeship that takes you through to your beginner where you'll get like a COC card.
Yeah.
And then you can go right through to an intermediate or an advanced. I think the advanced takes about 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's quite full on now. Yeah.
Because is it quite competitive in terms of a role if you were going to say, hey, because I mean, when you're at high school, they're looking for a trade to do. I mean, it's not, it's obviously a physical job when you're actually doing the job.
Yes.
But you're going to different locations. It's not any one place all the time. You're putting up, you're putting down.
Yeah. It's quite like that. So, we kind of, I've always been interested in getting into with the schools to potentially do something to try and pull guys out of the schools straight away. Because I think it's better if you are going to get your balance of your young guys right and, assisting to bring guys through for the future.
Yeah.
I think it's important to try and get them early.
Yeah.
Not when they're 22 and, have got some lazy tendencies and, they then find it difficult to get into something that's a very physical job.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing as well, because it's usually like sparky mechanic apprenticeships and all that sort of stuff that they're sort of, plumbers and whatever from high school. But if it's a viable kind of job with a decent amount of earning and stuff like that.
But you can make some good money now. Yeah, with it. You can. Yeah, you definitely can make some good money now. I think it was probably seen for a while there as one of the lower sort of graded trades.
Well, it's classed as labouring, right?
Yeah.
But
it's actually become with a lot of the intricate builds and stuff we do now, with the shrink wrapping and a lot of the stuff like that's all got to be engineered now.
Yeah.
So it's not just grabbing some poles and throwing them on your back and chucking it up and then hoping that they're in the right place.
Like the bamboo and barley ones.
Yeah. Well, I actually had a friend of mine sent me through they were in China and sent me through a picture of a bamboo. So what do you think of this? Yeah. I was like, holy shit, I wouldn't get on it. But apparently it's really strong.
Oh, and flexible.
Yeah, apparently it is really, really strong. So
no,
I don't know. I can't see that here with the health and safety, but hey.
Nah, the Aussies. And in terms of, you've obviously had been a director of a company and you've got your guys. What's your sort of, in terms of you keeping staff on and keeping them happy and stuff, what's a key thing? Because I am going to segue into sort of the health side of things, but keeping them happy. What sort of?
I think you've got to have a good balance with being firm but being fair. with your staff. Like, it's easy to, lose your cool and blast them. But generally, some people can take a bit of a blast and some people can't. So I think you've also got to get to know them on a level whereby how you communicate with them.
Yeah.
Because some people you can say, what the fuck are you doing, mate? Get back to work, Other people you say that to, and this day and age, you get a PG on you.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas I grew up, it was, you do that shit down, you get it done. There was no sick days. There was none of the stuff that you have these days.
And if you didn't turn up, you lost your job.
Yeah. If you weren't turning up all the time, you just get booted. See you later on to the next one. Whereas it's very difficult in the climate we're in now. So that's where I think the importance comes down to really knowing how to communicate with each of your staff members. Because some of them you've got to kind of nurture.
It's like a
whereas
team,
some of them don't mind to boot up the arse, get moving.
It's like a sports team. You've got the guys that you can kind of give a bit of stick, and then the guys that you got to put an arm around almost. And
some of them need a cuddle.
Yeah. So you've probably become better at being a manager and sort of like a boss.
Yeah, you do.
Then over the years.
But you've still got to be, because at the end of the day, it's like you give someone too much and they're going to take advantage. So that's where there's a fine line between getting that balance right of being firm with them, but also giving a bit as well.
Yeah.
So, and a little bit goes a long way, like if they have someone, passes away or, they've got to go and do something for one of their kids. If you give them a day or you give them a few days off to go to Tangi or something like that, it's, because a lot of our guys are very cultural in that aspect as well.
Yeah.
So that's quite a big thing as well.
Being sensitive to that sort of situation.
I learned a lot about it through my staff as well. So once you learn about how they work and the ins and outs of it, you understand it better, and you can understand why they need the certain time off and
obviously
things
they
like that.
Appreciate it too.
And they appreciate it if you do that. As well. That sort of appreciation goes a long way, and you get more out of them. I think the better relationship you can have with them, the more you'll get out of them.
Yeah, and I guess that's your value.
I feel like I used my hands here. I was like, shit, I look like Jacinda Ardern. I don't want to look like Cindy.
Oh, stop it. It's true, though. You're better looking than her, though. Anyway, so do you reckon that's your value add? Because as a mate of yours and obviously you're a client of mine and whatever, it's one of those things where I think your value add is, you're a big, loud. You are loud.
Yeah.
But lovely,
most of the
lovely
time.
guy.
Most of the time.
And you've got, and like I've met people.
I always say the only person who's probably louder than me is Katie.
Yeah, I think she has to be being with you.
But she probably has to be so she can get a word in.
Yeah, exactly. But do you reckon that's your value add now? Because in having longevity, stickability with the staff that you have through tough times?
So some of our guys, like we sort of took a hit through COVID, which was another difficult time that we went through as a business. So we took a bit of a hit to keep everyone going. And I'm sure that there was lots of companies that did the same, because $400 or whatever it was is not going to really be enough to live.
No.
So we took a bit of a hit on that. And all the guys stayed with us though. And then as soon as because we had work, obviously was sitting there ready to go. By giving that little bit, we hit the ground running, and most of the same guys are still with us now.
Yeah. See, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's great.
So we've had a lot of, we've got 3 of our guys have been with us since the start. So they've been with us for the 9 years. And we've got multiple guys who have been 4 or 5 years as well with us. Yeah.
No,
and I think that makes a big difference, because at the end of the day, you kind of want to form a proper team. So you're all sort of, I always say going into battle together, and you want to keep down because one thing I hate about businesses environments is when you have like the in-house fighting and, people don't get along and, this person didn't do this and, I think she's shit at that job or he's shit at that job or, where I just think that just forms a real shitty atmosphere, right?
Yeah. So do you have a bit of a transparent open door policy
too? So we have that sort of where, let's lay it out on the table. If someone's not getting on with someone else, at the end of the day, you can either got to get on or get to booting out the door, really.
Yeah. Do you set up like a battle royale and everyone can have a 1 hour?
Yeah, with the joust.
Yeah, with the scaffold towels.
We set up 2 horses at the end of the yard, mate. They run at each other.
Oh, that's too good. That's too good. No, that's great. Well, I mean, on the business side of things, yeah, I think I just wanted to highlight, I think the reason why you are still where you are is because of the way you run business. And obviously you're a great referrer. Like I think we touched on it a little bit, how you refer, like how we catch up for beers and stuff.
Yeah.
I've met lots of, gained clients that way just by you saying, hey, they say, oh, where do you do your insurance? And also, obviously, we've got Phil who does all the, the liabilities and the tools and the vehicles and stuff. It's all kind of like a good circle and referring and bits.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good with that because obviously we've got the business insurance, which is pretty heavy with all the vehicles and the liability, and then obviously the personal, which I have with you, which I think has been in 3 years now. Is it, mate?
No, it's longer than
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years. Yeah. Oh,
so
I was close. I was close.
I'll punch home on that one. So
close.
I mean, that's a funny thing because you were. I mean, it's like when I first got into insurance and got my first insurance, but you weren't really too fussed. Then when we sat down and sort of went through some stuff, you did actually listen, and you ended up getting stuff in place. But then you were a pain in the ass because you didn't know how to do this thing with his app. But now you've become the master.
Yeah, I'm the master of that.
And you've claimed on multiple things. You've figured out how to do it.
Well, I think when you go, and I'm obviously, being me, and when we sort of spoke about it, I'm not the most, savvy guy on an app.
No.
So I think we went through it. We set it up on my phone, and I did the first one, and then I remember I messaged you and I said, "Oh, you'll never guess what." Yeah. I did my own claim and I got paid out, and you couldn't believe that I'd done it myself on the app.
Yeah, I was blown away.
Yeah, it is surprisingly simple.
And just on that, so
it was surprisingly
like
simple.
Who was not, you were not like, what you were like more, why do I need this and stuff? And it's not like you've had simple medical things that you've done and they've been good. Like yours has been more proactive for your health, which is really good. Yeah. It's not like you've had issues, but you've gone, right, I'm going to check my cardiovascular system.
Because I had the one with, my uncle who had he had to have a triple bypass.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the first thing they said was sort of the, direct sort of family members needed to get the full heart check thing done. Thing, not thick. That's me sometimes.
Yeah.
And, that sort of procedure, I can imagine is not a cheap.
It's not affordable.
It wasn't cheap. It wasn't. I don't think it would be affordable for some people to go because but I actually went to Apollo. Well, I think all up it nearly cost a couple of $1,000.
Yeah.
And I went to the Apollo and they were really good actually. But they put you on this treadmill which they set on like fucking Everest mode, and like try and get you to go on it till you're basically passing out and falling over. Yeah. And then you have a full X-ray done, and they do to see all the X-ray, all the valves and everything like that.
An EKG or whatever.
Yeah, ECGs. It's a bit more. It's a bit more than an ECG, to be honest, because an ECG is from my understanding, is a bit. I'm not a medical specialist, but I think that's more of a basic. Whereas this one actually goes in around the X-ray of the valves.
Yeah.
So me and my old man both had that done because he had his done as well, and we were both, good as gold. But it does, by having that and with it being in the family, it's, to go and flock out a couple of $1,000s for something like that is not as probably viable money-wise for some people. Whereas, with my cover that we sort of set up, which you assisted me with, it was all covered, which was fantastic. And you got the peace of mind that you're going and seeing someone who really knows what they're doing, to look at those things. So,
but I mean, obviously, and being able to sort of go, but you also being proactive and doing it is one of those things that I think is, it's out of anyone, you'd have been the last person I think would be proactive, but you are.
I even surprised myself.
Yeah, but you are very proactive with it. So, and you've obviously you've got no issues and you've gone through flying colours, but yeah. Do you find?
I was quite surprised actually that I went through a flying colours.
But do you find that's one of the obviously it's quite cool. Like from my perspective, most people come to me with claims, and most of the claims that we put, Kim does and all that sort of stuff. It's all reactive. It's all like worst case scenario, and I think that's one of the biggest things about being proactive with. If there are things you can go to the doctor and say, hey, look, I'd like to go and have this tested and things like that.
Well, I think
it's good to be able to do that sort of stuff.
I think, and as we, us as men anyway, but especially tradies, we all think we're bulletproof, when the reality is that we aren't.
No.
And we're kind of too proud to be like, well, I need to go and get checked out, or, I should have some sort of insurance. And probably scared.
Some of them are scared. I've come across that.
But too. Now I think that I've got the insurance behind me. I think it makes me more confident to go, and if I do need to get things done.
Because it's not going to really cost you.
It gives you, some things may cost.
Some things may cost, exactly.
But you got that bit of a good backup behind you. Like the one I'm working at the moment is with me wrist, because I might have the carpal tunnel, I think it's called, or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know that.
Not from too much wanking, which is what I thought you'd probably say, And then you would look short on the chair.
It's PG-13. Okay.
Yeah. Was it? I thought it was R18.
No.
But anyway, but yeah, so with the wrist, well, I've only just sort of seen someone about it now, and which is very common with tradesmen.
Yeah.
Oh,
mate, I've got two.
Because I worked on the tools for, 10 years from 17. That's what I first did. I was on the tools. So, and it's heavy on your wrists.
But when was the last time you were on the tools?
The last time I was on the tools, well, I still do bits and pieces. But if I'm helping out a mate or something like that, but I'm not. It's very deteriorative over time from the wrist.
But from previously doing.
Oh, from being properly full time on the tools, I would be 12, 13, 15, probably 14 years.
Yeah. So you can see that some stuff can affect you even from your
when you're from young. Only doing like 10 years full noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's probably another key thing about what people don't.
So I've got to have she wants me to have an MRI done on the two wrists and on my foot.
Yeah. And
possibly on the back, because for some reason, like I said, I haven't got my medical degree yet, but that could be one day. There's something that it can affect the nerve in your back or something along those lines, which, I don't know.
Carpal tunnel.
Yeah, that can be something to do with the nerve around your back line, she said. So potentially have to have my back done as well. So I would imagine if we're looking at that sort of process, it's not going to be a cheap process if I had to just slump up with the money.
Won't throw prices out, but if it's surgeries and things like that, especially if it's to do with, anywhere in terms of ligaments and veins and stuff as well.
Well, she was first talking about potentially going into a splint. You wear a splint at night time. I'm thinking to myself, there ain't no fucking way I'm doing that. Just put me into the surgery and cut me open.
Laughing.
But then she says that you can only do one hand at a time, of course, because otherwise you got no hands. So you'd be walking around like that with no hands.
Edward says no hands. No.
So that was one that you can do one at a time. Okay. So, but we'll see how we go.
Well, it's more. Like I don't even know what's going on, because you don't really need me, do you? With all
well, I sort of took that on myself. You see that one? But that's what I'm saying though. With I think you get a bit more confidence behind you though. Having
you've got it there, when
you've got that sort of that backup there. To be like, well, this doesn't feel right, or this isn't any good, and going to get checked out. And like I said, us males, a lot of us think we're bulletproof. So, and it's getting your head around that we're not. And, sort of sacrificing a box of beers a week can get you some sort of cover behind you. Yeah. As well.
And I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed, because, I focused heavily on trades when I first joined the industry. Definitely faded off now, but I still think it's one of the industries where it still is severely underinsured. Like one of my young guys, Leroy, he's been doing a good job at just sort of getting around a few sites, and he's an ex-concreter. But, the last 3 or 4 people that he's brought on board all are in trades, different ones. But he is just, once we sit down with them, they're just completely surprised at scenarios that we run through and things like that.
Yeah, but also when they're young.
But when they're young too, like we're talking guys between sort of, and I say between 30 and 40 years young. But it's not a lot of money per week.
I'm still in my 40s, mate. I still think I'm young.
Still 30 to 40 bucks a week, and I mean,
yeah. I think mine's 30 odd bucks a week, I think. Something like that.
I think it's more like 90.
30. It's probably going up after this.
We'll see. But that's cool. That's cool. I mean, and I think one of the things that I'm stoked with you is that you're not like a tech savvy kind of person, and you're not like the first person you'd think of to go and get insurance, but to have you say, yep, it's a good option because it gives me some peace of mind, kind of, if the shit hits the fan, I'm going to be taken care of.
Yeah, I think it's great having that. And I think one of the things is probably people don't realise how accessible it is and what it costs. I think everyone thinks, medical insurance, it's through the roof.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me too much money. Which it doesn't, depending on what sort of cover you obviously want. You can obviously, from talks with you can go right up to, ridiculous sorts of covers, or you can get
100%.
some really good, like mine, I'm really good sort of middle of the road.
Yeah. But I mean, you also have the way yours is set up is completely different to then someone who doesn't own a company, doesn't have assets, you own home and stuff like that. So that's a different scenario. But for you would obviously always, and you have given referrals and stuff, but people in trades, especially guys, whether they're still on the tools, even if they're off the tools, should seriously consider having some sort of.
I think when you're off the tools, even more.
I think you're busier as well.
Because you've generally done, if you're generally off the tools, you've done a lot of hard graft, really.
Yeah, and
to
in
get
that
there.
time, 20 years is a long time, say, on the tools.
And doing stuff. Generally you look at, the guys now, if you're off the tools, they've probably put in a lot of hard yards to get off the tools. And a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
When I was sort of growing up, you're working 6 days a week, 7 till 5.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays people, some people don't really want to work from 9 till 2.
Yeah.
Or find ways to make money that in a short period of time.
Yeah. But I mean, the normal, the guys that are working for people and stuff, 9 times out of 10, they're having to do a job 5 days a week. I mean, it's probably, it is hard to find, good staff and stuff like that. But yeah. And so in terms of, where do you see yourself for the rest of the year? How's your year going to pan out?
What are they saying? Isn't it survive till 25?
Yeah, that's true.
I can feel like that's going to be floated around everywhere at the moment. The survive to 25.
It's only the third time I've heard it.
But we don't want to survive. You'd like to, in terms of our growth, we don't want to grow in terms of employee numbers.
No.
It's really just building on our relationships that we've already currently got and working with what we have, and because. Sometimes it's difficult to get clients, but it's easier to lose them as well. So you've really got to put in those hard yards on, making sure that you're really looking after the client, especially in times like this as well. Clients are very important, so it's really vital that we look after who we've got now. So
nurture the clients that are good to you as well.
Yeah, because when it's sort of people do start to tighten the belts up and the work slows down, it's you really want to be nailing home every job that you've got because, and yourself, every job that you get can create another opportunity. Like every referral that you get, you can create you an opportunity to sign someone up.
Yeah. And I mean, that's funny you touch on that because I think when you're trying so hard, I know even with my business, trying so hard to just keep everyone happy, sometimes you're not keeping the right people happy actually. No. And that's, I've fallen into that trap because, you get bogged down with the administration and, certain things.
You learn to keep the person who's paying the bills happy.
Yeah. Well, I think I think ultimately it's also the people that are positive. There's a lot of negativity out there, and I think when you're hanging around the more positive, people that can, or whether it gives you more business, improves business, or just keeps your picker up. So to speak, I think that's a key thing for me. I thrive on the positivity side of things. Yeah, that's why I hang out with you at least once or twice.
Yeah. Well, I try and bring you up, Well, I think it's probably a good thing to touch on, like when I sent you that message yesterday. What is an insurance broker? So we're asking you a question. So because I don't know whether people actually understand. Because you can probably people think, well, you ring up. I won't name names, but you ring up a company and I want to get medical insurance. Yeah. How does it all work? Yeah. So that's when I asked you yesterday, which you probably had a good laugh at with when I text you. What's an insurance broker?
I thought this was entrapment. I thought it was entrapment.
Well, I think it's a good question to ask, though, so people kind of know what they get.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it was a good question. And when I sort of went back and I was thinking about a reply, I was going to, take the mickey as we do. But then I thought, no, I mean, really our role is to, help educate, facilitate, and assist in putting in place, insurance depending on what it is.
It'll be my bastard phone thing going. It was lucky I put it on silent.
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, yeah, that's it. But I think the point of difference that I like is that, and it's harder as you get busier, with people. And I've been doing this for, 7 years now, but my own business since August 2019 is the hardest thing for me is, I think is because of the claims are coming in so thick and fast. So I have Kim to do that full time, but then administration things, and it's the frustrations because I just want things fixed now. And I'm starting to learn that, like I'm learning something right now, and that's to not worry about stuff that is out of my control,
Yes.
And I've talked about it even with Guy, like he's had, something that he's had to have changed recently, and it was an absolute fucking ball ache. And I won't name the insurer. But the great company and stuff. But, it's frustrating for us as advisors with that. I'm kind of digressing a little bit. But the main thing is our role is to work for the client. We work for you. We don't work for the insurance companies. We work for you.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people don't understand. We don't care where you go. There's a lot of different companies. Like some people might be with one company and then they say, I put their mate with someone else, but that's because it doesn't suit the situation. Everyone's situation is different.
Yes.
There's no set template for insurance. You can't just go take an order. And if you think that's what you want to do, give me some quotes. Well, no, you got to understand the person. That's what I like about how I am. I like to understand the person. Where do you see? Where are you now? Where do you see yourself in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And people go, oh, I'm not too sure. So I'm asking, even budgeting.
Yeah.
People don't, when I say, oh, what do you spend monthly on your bills? What? No, seriously. So even doing a fact find. So you find out who's really on top of things. And I'd say 80% of people are not on top of budgeting, bills. They don't even know how much is going in their account, and they wonder why they're broke.
Yeah, probably.
They wonder
no
why.
Idea.
And then you sort of, and I don't do financial advising in that sense. I'm insurance advisor. That's my special. Shush. But the biggest thing, and this is quite apparent right now in this kind of environment, is it's amazing when people do a little simple budgeting. I send them a little thing that says, "Hey, this is a little budgeting tool."
Yes.
Well, as soon as they do a little bit of budgeting, shit, I didn't realize I was spending so much on Uber Eats, and I didn't realize I was spending so much on my weekly coffees. I didn't realize I was just pissing money away at the supermarket because I was throwing a lot of stuff out. Because people just keep to the norm, but they don't adjust. So if someone's on a salary and all the interest rates have gone up and all this sort of stuff,
you're still buying the same
still
amount
buying
of food.
the same crap.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you more.
Yeah.
But why not just?
I was a bit like that until probably about 3 months ago.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
because I never really, as a side thing, I never really looked at the price of food.
Well, you don't. Do you look when you fill up gas and you look?
No,
you don't.
Even
when you
now,
get to a point,
even now, I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, "Holy shit, that thing of grapes is $17." I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure I'm going to get these. I'm going to get these home, and there's going to be a secret gold nugget in the thing of grapes.
Is that the grapes that Katie feeds you on the weekend?
Yeah, with the fan.
With the fan.
Yeah, holding it above.
No, but I mean, that's the biggest thing I think I love about what I do, and my point of difference is, and you can make a joke out of it, but I'm personal. I want to know who I'm dealing with.
Yes, back to that, yeah.
And I guess that my hardest job at the moment is touch points. Like I get to see quite a few clients, like even Guy and Will, bits and pieces, and you and stuff. But if I don't do a mail out, I might not catch some of the clients that I don't see. And, there's enough there over the past, sort of 5 years, even if you say from 2019, to even just get on the blower. But once every 11 months is the absolute minimum that I would try and catch up with people. But even then, people don't reply to emails or a backup email and things like that. So how many touch points do you have? Hence the reason why you do social media, right? And it's great.
We do a bit of it. Yeah, we do.
And I mean, I know more about what your jobs.
Probably not as much as I'd like to.
No, but I know where your jobs are. I know where your jobs are, like via Instagram. And then we obviously catch up. But if I didn't talk to you for 2 weeks, I could actually just look on your Instagram and say, "Oh, he's got some cool jobs."
Yeah,
and you put some stories up and stuff. Oh, lads are on a big dog today, and
one of my 3 kids hanging off of my neck on Instagram.
Yeah, Father of 12. No.
Only
Just
three.
three.
Only
Just
three.
three.
Only
Just
three I
three.
know about.
Yeah. That's another one. This is getting a bit personal. Have you had the snip yet?
I don't mind having that conversation. Yes,
No.
I have.
Yeah.
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 Just
I think the 3 for me is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you claim on that though?
Done in that department.
Did you do the claim on that?
Yeah, I think I did. Remember?
Yeah.
No, I
you
did.
eh?
No, I did. Yeah. I sent it through the NIB thing. Yeah. On my app.
Yeah. On your app.
On
Yeah.
the app that I created.
No,
But I think it's quite, one thing for me of, with dealing with you over the years is you do get that personal level. And the one thing I think is great with dealing with you is that you're always available on the phone or to have a chat about if you don't understand something or, because a lot of the people can
Monica's dislike.
Yeah. Well, because you can get caught up in all the paperwork, can't you? You know, as well. So it's good I've always been able to ring you up and say, look, we've gone over it and then you've told me the advice and, it's always gone that way, which I think a lot of people don't understand that side of if they go with you. And obviously there's other people that do what you do as well. But you get more of that personal level with rather than just phoning up and you're probably just talking to a number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of, like
as well.
We've dealt with something recently and, with Guy and stuff. And it was a frustrating thing because it was from the insurer, but he knew it wasn't, well, I hope he knows it wasn't mine and Kim's sort of fault, and Kim was pushing hard and stuff like that. But it's the patience also that we appreciate from, like right now, a lot of stuff is really slow and bits and pieces, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, I know about that. I've got a couple of work ones I'm working on.
But it's nice to have I think it's nice to have the patience from people as well. Because we're all in similar boats. Like I'm trying to do this over here and, I have to be patient because that's not going to work. And, so.
I think that's one thing that I probably need to work on with, especially from my, the business aspect with the insurance. I get a bit frustrated because, and the things take.
Eccles.
You get your head.
How many did you have the other day? So how many did you have the other day? It was like
we've had a couple of vehicle claims.
We got robbed. Like he was going to have a freaking
we got
heart
stuff stolen from us again, which is the second time in a year. And then we had a damage claim. So we're dealing with 4 at the moment. So it is like an overload on them, and you think to yourself, do I put the heat on? Or how much heat do you put on?
And you like doing that, let's be honest.
I don't mind putting a bit of heat on either.
Nah, but I mean, that's another thing. So just, and it's great that you have a great relationship with Phil.
Yeah, no, Phil's great.
And Phil does, obviously, works in conjunction and does all that sort of stuff. But if you didn't have that relationship with him, you probably would give the people stick.
Probably would give them more stick than I do. But, Phil's very good on the communication side of things as well, like yourself.
Yeah.
Makes everything pretty clear on where it's at.
Yeah.
As well, which helps keep someone like me calm.
Which is difficult.
Well, you get a bit, when it starts to sort of drag on, in general, it's like anything, you get a bit frustrated. But
but you are a man of your word also, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
You know how I know this?
Yeah.
Because who do you support in the NRL? This is rugby league.
Roosters, my man.
You support the Roosters, right?
Sydney Roosters.
Sydney City Roosters.
Yeah, we're back-to-back champions, mate, in 18, 19.
Yeah.
Might remember those.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've said that. But what do you have on your forearm, your right forearm? You've got a tattoo of the Warriors.
There it is, mate.
Right there. I don't know if you can see it. But
that's it.
Why do you have that? Because you stuck to your word for a bit.
I actually had to get, which we've got a long-going thing with my partner now and some mates of mine who are sort of avid Warriors fans. So we used to do, we haven't done it for a while, which we'd like to kick it off again. We used to do a city mission can run.
Yeah.
And my mate of mine, Matt, who's got a plumbing company, sort of was getting involved. And then I'd made a bet with him that he couldn't get 5,000 cans. And if he got it, then I'd get a Warriors tattoo. But you couldn't put in any of your own money.
Yeah.
So the night before, the bastard rung up a building company and got like $1,500 that he needed the night before to get it over the line. And then that's how I ended up. And it had to be the size of a cigarette packet. So it wasn't like I could just put a little one somewhere and hide it. So I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll go all out.
You know what? Yeah.
So I got the tattoo done.
Yeah, number one Warriors fan.
Now everyone's now I go somewhere and they go to me, "Oh, you obviously like the Warriors, eh?" And I'm like, "No." I actually support the Roosters.
Man of your word, you stuck to it. You literally got a tattoo on your arm. So that's why I know, you do stick to what you say, which is good.
Yeah, I think there was a few people that were surprised that I went through with it, to be honest. Yeah, including myself. But hey, we're here now.
100%. Well, mate, I'm super stoked you came on. Really appreciate it. It's good to hear that you're going well, and obviously a lot of the guys that you go around with in terms of the other trades and builders and stuff that you work with, they're going okay as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. So what's the word we say?
Survive to 25, and next time I'm sitting in the high chair.
Yeah, you get to sit in the high chair. Thanks, bud.
Easy, brother.
Thanks, man.